Hello everyone, I welcome you all to the 27th module on Best Practices of School Counselor, being grounded, accessible and approachable. School counseling is an evolving field in which school counselors' role is multifaceted. School counseling and school counselors' role is influenced by the state and national education policies, economics and school reform. Further, a school counselor's role is affected by stakeholders' expectations. School counselors' counseling activities involve promoting students' academic, career, and personal or social development. It also involves non-counseling duties such as scheduling, disciplinary functions, and clerical duties. There is frequently a disparity between what a counselor ought to do and actually does. This disparity mainly results from the perceptions and expectations of the stakeholders about the role of a school counselor. Many times, school administrators' understanding on the role of school counselors is very limited, and their expectations include several non-counseling activities. Moreover, the school administrators go on increasing their demands as they are not completely aware of all the duties carried out by a school counselor. In short, the school counselors are considered as ancillary, expendable service providers. School administrators vastly designed the roles of school counselor, which were limited to responding to the crisis intervention and service to small number of students through minor administrative procedures. Thus, the effective execution of a school counselor's role is greatly affected as school counselors are often curtailed in execution of their duties by the school system policies, such as exhaustive administrative tasks, limited counseling sessions, and limited training. Of course, a school counselor's role involves coordination, consultation, counseling, and classroom instructions. In order to address these functions, school counselor needs to have a clarity over his or her role. Additionally, community pressures about the intrusiveness of the counseling, which is need to be balanced. School counselors work in a complex educational system with numerous caseloads and then at the same time execute school counseling programs and other non-clinical duties. Such responsibilities lead to role confusion in a school counselor. He or she will have to have a clarity over the unique role that is being played. Simultaneously, address exhausting list of referrals and students' needs. Balance the contributions of the teacher, maintain own skills, and integrate self into the school system. Usually, school counselors try to carry out all the duties, including both counseling and non-counseling, with a positive attitude that everything is a part of the duty. But when there is less clarity over the role, it may lead to role confusion, in turn to exhaustions and resulting burnout. However, adopting to some of the best practices is required for a school counselor to be able to provide better services to the students even amidst their confusion over the role ambiguity they play in the school system. So the learning objectives of this video is acquire knowledge on the factors that can contribute to a school counselor's stress and develop an understanding about the essence and importance of being grounded. Now, being grounded. The discrepancy between the actual practice and the best practice can be resolved better if school counselor has a proper grounding in self. Characteristics such as awareness of the self will make a school counselor to be more confident and grounded in his or her practice. As mentioned above, school counselor's role is complicated and can be overwhelming many times. Such conditions can make the school counselor feel emotionally drained and exhausted. They can make the school counselor feel stressed, anxious, angry, and even depressed. Being grounded helps the school counselor to effectively execute his or her role. Being a grounded person means being confident of the physical and mental state and sure of oneself. In other words, it means that he or she has strong connection with whom he or she is, which brings physical and emotional balance. When a person is disturbed, he or she will not be able to act or react from a calm and rational minded perspectives. So it is important that one feels grounded and present in the moment while delivering services. Being grounded is both an ongoing action and a state of being. By an ongoing action, we mean that being in a relationship with the body and the art. A state of being means our experience of being grounded. In a state of being grounded, one feels settled and supported, that is, being able to negotiate the ever-altering experiences of our relationship to the earth, feelings, energy, and connectivity with the others. Orienting to senses of physical body with awareness is the base to grounding. Such orientation to self or self-awareness promotes a sense of resilience and support and enables us to address our needs while stressed. The ability to be grounded with the actual experience helps in being fully present in what is happening here and now. The actual experience involves your body, the art, the psyche, your energy, your pleasures, your pains, and your sexuality. In short, it is about being with your senses repeatedly with your awareness. Grounding involves being in contact with the experiences while being aware. It does not mean thinking about experience. When one starts thinking about the experience, it means that the person is out of context with the experience. It is all about just being aware of what our senses are experiencing. One of the advantages of grounding is the ability to tune to the emotions as sensations of the body, which helps in managing the emotions better. As we start practicing grounding, we can become more aware of how strong our emotions are and take them to be as our sensations. So when you experience any feelings, just focus on where and how you experience that feelings in your body. Just notice its shape, size, pulsation, expansion or contraction, flow, etc. Simply observe it with curiosity and keep the awareness as sensation and avoid focusing on your thoughts. Sometimes we may resist the experience, and it can be identified with the way we hold our breath and then tense our muscles. Since physiology of emotion is all about the movement of biological functions, when we hold our breath or tense our muscles, we constrain the free flow. Such resistance hinder our work with the negative feelings. So becoming more aware of such resistance and being grounded help us in participating whatever experience we are having. Simply, the way to avoid resistance is to remind ourselves to breathe and just simply be aware of the tension as a sensation. Being awareness is the main key. In this video, we have discussed about stressful life of a school counselor, over their unclear role assignment in the school system, and how being grounded can be a practice to overcome that. In the next video, we will focus on the techniques of grounding oneself. Thank you.